Hello, my name is Nick Hunley. I'll be sharing about how you can use a positive mindset and practice for future learning success. Learning can be tough for students. The learning process is not easy and often requires struggle. In order to learn more effectively, students will have to work through challenges. Here are the learning objectives for this presentation. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to recognize why struggle is an important part of the learning process, identify learning strategies that improve understanding over time, differentiate between a fixed or growth mindset, describe what you learned from a tough learning experience, and finally, embrace challenges more willingly in future learning situations. Problem statement. Many students do not like the idea of being challenged in school. Students struggle to realize that failure can help facilitate learning. It is part of the learning process and should not be viewed so negatively. We all like to see immediate feedback in today's world. However, in learning, the process is just as important as the results. Regardless of if you get an A or a B on an assignment, the process of learning the content is important. Please take a moment to reflect on the multiple choice question. Is it important to be challenged during the learning process? The correct answer is letter A. Yes, it is important to be challenged during the learning process. It is important to be challenged because challenge forces your brain to retrieve, connect, and organize information. Please pause the video to answer the following. Think of a time you were challenged in school. How did you react to this challenge? This can be from any point in your schooling. It is tough to deal with challenges, especially with difficult material. I encourage you to embrace challenge and use it as an opportunity to grow. Content overview. Effortful learning is not a sign of failure or weakness. It is a signal that real learning is taking place. Embracing difficulty helps learners build stronger mental models and retain knowledge more permanently. It is important to remember learning that feels effortful is typically more durable than learning that feels easy. This is because the struggle produces new neural pathways in the brain, which allow students to recognize and recall information more easily. Reflect and answer the multiple choice question. Which of the following best explains why effort and struggle are important in the learning process? The correct answer is B. They help build stronger and more lasting connections in the brain. Please pause the video to reflect on the following. Why do you think effortful learning leads to lasting understanding rather than learning that feels easy? As long as you had an answer that supports that effortful learning leads to better memory retention, that is correct. It is important to understand that challenges are a part of learning. It is much easier to overcome challenges with a growth mindset because having this mindset allows learners to expand their knowledge through effort, reflection, and practice. A growth mindset is a belief that embraces challenges and uses them as opportunities to grow. A growth mindset allows learners with the opportunity to grow their abilities, while a fixed mindset traps students into what they know. The more you can embrace a growth mindset, the more you can learn beyond your given ability. You can start today by thinking with a positive and open mind. A good growth mindset is accompanied by a positive attitude. Students with a positive attitude are going to be more successful than students with a negative attitude because they will be willing to put the necessary effort in to succeed. They will also be more successful because they will not be discouraged by the challenges they face during the learning process. Take a moment to answer the question. Which of the following best demonstrates a fixed mindset? The correct answer is C, because this statement limits their ability. They are adopting a fixed mindset because they are not allowing the opportunity for growth. Please pause and reflect on the following. When you make a mistake or face a setback, what thoughts usually come to mind? If you answered with more positive thoughts, that is amazing. You may already have adopted a growth mindset. Desirable difficulties are learning strategies that may slow down performance in the short term, but result in greater long-term retention. These difficulties, such as spacing, allow students to better their learning because it challenges them to retain information. Some examples of successful learning strategies are interleaving, spacing, and self-quizzing. Interleaving is the idea of mixing your topics together to study rather than just focusing on one singular topic. Interleaving is like a salad because there are several parts that work together to create the whole thing. Please reflect and answer the question. Which of the following strategies can improve your memory of a concept? The correct answer is D, all of the above, because interleaving concepts, spacing out practice, and self-quizzing are all great strategies that can improve your memory of a concept. Pause the video and reflect. How could you use self-quizzing at home? A few examples on how to use self-quizzing at home are making flashcards, solving practice problems, or using apps such as Kahoot. Suggestions for implementation. The key to learning is to have a growth mindset. You can start having a growth mindset by doing something as simple as not complaining about your assignments. Assignments are meant to help learning through practice problems or tasks and are great opportunities to grow as a student. Learning is not an easy process that happens in a day. Learning takes time, dedication, and practice. I believe that you can become great lifelong learners by embracing the challenge, adopting a growth mindset, and continuing to work hard when learning gets tough. Answer the following multiple choice question. Which strategy is an example of embracing productive struggle? The correct answer is D, trying to solve problems before checking the answers. D is correct because trying to solve problems is a great learning strategy. Try and solve them by using what you have learned instead of just looking at the answer. Please pause the video and reflect on the following. What's something you used to struggle with but can do now? What helped you improve? This can relate to school or your life outside of school. An example answer is, in the learning process, interleaving, spaced practice, and self-quizzing are all great skills for academic success. Conclusion. Just like solving a Rubik's Cube, learning is a strategic process that takes time to get it just right. True learning is often difficult as it requires students to overcome challenges and adversity. Learning is a process that requires practice and time to work effectively. Self-quizzing is a great study strategy that helps the learning process to be successful because it challenges students to recall and retain information. It is crucial to have a growth mindset during the learning process because it allows you to push through the inevitable challenges during the process. Being positive about challenges makes them easier and more impactful. This is tough, but I know you can do it. If you work hard and trust the process, you will be rewarded with academic success and lifelong learning. Learning is a skill that can be used in the real world outside of school. The better you can build good learning habits now, the more successful you will be in the future. Take some time to reflect and answer the following. What is the most important reason to embrace challenges and struggle during learning? The correct answer is C, because it helps you build lasting understanding and becoming a stronger learner. Please pause the video and reflect on the question. How can having a growth mindset help you approach your schoolwork or challenges differently in the future? You may have a different response. However, having a growth mindset allows you to embrace challenges and learn from them. Successful learners view challenges as opportunities to learn. Here are the references I used for this presentation. Thank you for your time, and good luck becoming positive and successful learners.